Welcome to Shift Points. Alright, so we are looking at something a little different today. You guys are used to looking at that over there, but today we're working on a 1964 Ford Galaxie. It's a Galaxie 500. This car has been with me since I was 16 years old. Pretty much the day I turned 16, it was signed over to me. My great uncle Richard left me this car. It has sat here at least, what year did Richard die? In 07. So it has, but he hadn't started it even before then. But it was last registered in 2005. Here's the old registration. So 2005. So that makes, if 2005 is the last time it was registered, what that makes 18 years. So it's 18 years since it was last registered. We know for sure it's been a long time it's been sitting here. So like I said, I'm 28 now. It's been with me since it was 16 and it's sat here all this time. We started this channel. This was the second thing on the list to get running. So we got the truck going, we got it going to Power Tour and doing all that. The next thing that we said that had to be at least able to run again was this car right here. So I'll take you guys around it real quick, kind of show you. It is a 390 with a 4-speed car. This is the factory paint. This car is basically untouched since 64, basically. I pulled the side skirts off to be able to get to the tires so we could get them pumped up because all 4 were flat. So let me take you in here into the interior. So the main thing that we want to start with on this thing is I want to, because where it's set for a long time, it's got a little bit of mold on the seats and stuff like that. The headliner's actually not too bad. I mean, in general, it's really not terrible, but we want to go through it, clean it real good so we, as we're getting in and out of this thing, we don't have to worry about it as much. But you can see here, like I said, this car is completely unmolested. It's absolutely perfect as far as how it was basically since 64. But like I said, it is a 4-speed car, 390 car. You can see just kind of everything. It's really cool as far as everything's really classic. Dad's waving at me. Yes, Dad?
That's a factory bench seat car.
Factory bench seat car. Right. Hey, usually the 4-speeds had buckets.
Usually it is. Most time the 4-speed cars
had bucket seats.
Also,
yeah.
That's factory.
So, okay, that's true. I didn't realize that either. So this is like you said, it is a bench seat car with the 4-speed instead of the bucket seats with the console. It's a unit. It's a big car. The big thing, like I said, the big thing that we want to do is kind of work on getting the interior cleaned up. That's why you saw Jackson over there. He's here. He's brought all his stuff, and he's brought some more stuff with him. We're going to go through, clean this thing up, and get it. First off, we're going to get rolled outside, which will be the first time it has seen sunlight in at least 15 years, I would say. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this thing rolled out, and we'll get a little better shot of it. So we started to pull this thing outside. As soon as we did, it started to kind of drizzle the rain. So we decided what we were going to do is, so these are the stock wheels, or stock-ish. We're not really sure about this one. It looks different than the front one, so we don't 100% know if this was the stock one or not. But it is a 14-inch. All of the wheels around this thing are 14 inches in diameter. It had the stock hubcaps on them over there. So what we've been talking about for a little while, me and Jackson and me and Dad have talked about it a few different times on what can we run width-wise, what's it going to look like, all of that different stuff. We've been talking about it for a little while. Got to go away from the 14-inch wheels because basically it's really, really hard to find a 14-inch tire at this point. It's actually getting pretty hard to find a 15. We're going to 15s. It's getting pretty difficult. There's only a handful of ones that run kind of the sizes that we want them. So what we've decided to go with is this is a Wheel Ventiques, basically just a Steely OE kind of replacement style. As you can see, it looks a lot like these. But the main thing that we want to see is if this 8-inch wheel and this 275 60 15s, I couldn't remember the size, if they will fit. So what we did is we went ahead and got this thing jacked up on the frame. We're going to pull this one off here real quick and see if this fits without any clearance issues. And if it does, we're going to get another one on the way and get a set of 7-inch widths to run on the front in this same style. I don't have the hubcaps here, but I found some stock Ford hubcaps that I want to do. Instead of this primer, I'm going to take and get them powder coated black. So we'll blast this and get them powder coated black, and then run those black Ford hubcaps on this thing, which I think is going to look really good. But what we're going to do now is pull off the stock wheel and tire, or stock-ish wheel and tire, and put this guy on, see if it fits. So when we pulled the wheel and tire off of it, that we were talking about how we didn't know why or how that these springs hadn't sagged as much as kind of some of these cars that you've seen, but apparently at some point Richard has put a helper spring on this thing, kind of beefed it up a little bit. So it's yeah, you guys are going to learn stuff as we learn stuff, because it's been a long time since anybody's worked on this thing, and especially us. So we're gonna learn as we go with this too. Alright, we have a little success here. The 8-inch wheel and tire, 8-inch wheel, 275 tire, plenty of clearance everywhere. We got clearance on the springs, which is the only thing we were a little nervous about. Clearance on the body right here, plenty. I think it's going to drastically change the look of this car. So we're going to pull this back off, throw the stock wheel back on, and get some new tires and the rest of the wheels on the way. We're going to put 7s on the front, this same style. So it's a few days later now. We had to go ahead and what you saw was us not push the car out because the brakes are pretty locked up on it. So like I said, it's been a little while now. We gathered up some more parts, got some stuff ordered. What we're trying to do now is get this thing moved over a little bit. If we get it moved over some, we can see if we can get the drums off of it. And then we're going to also see if we can get this thing started. So the first part of that is going to be pumping the old gas out of the gas tank. We think it's probably good. I think it probably has stable in it. It doesn't smell varnished. It doesn't look bad, but we don't want to chance it. So we're going to go ahead and pull that. We're going to suck that out. We got some, got a fuel pump here. Got a fuel pump here that we're going to use and pump that out with. So like I said, we're just trying to get this thing moved over enough to where we can see if we can get the drums pulled off of it. Alright, so we pulled the line off the fuel pump here, put this electric fuel pump in, run it down into this bucket, and hooked it up over there, put some alligator clips on the wires out, hooked it onto the battery, and now we've got this thing running the old fuel out. Alright, we got all the old fuel out. We hooked the pump up and just hooked it up into the filter and then filled the carburetor up. So we've got fuel up for the carburetor now. Now we're going to hook up the battery and do a fire test, do spark test, do all that different stuff. So we're going to hook it up now and then see if this thing will crank. The key should be laying in the seat, Daddy. Alright, this positive is just real loose. You can just set it off if we need to.
Alright.
Okay.
Push your clutch in, put it
Yep.
in, take it out of gear.
Yep.
I'm sure it's out of gear.
Alright.
Get it. Push your clutch in, make sure it's out of gear. It's out of gear?
Yep.
Our bumper starter, see if it'll even turn over.
That's all I have to do.
Ready?
Yeah.
Fix it.
Right. Good.
Should we hook a battery charger to the battery?
We got no gas. Try it again.
Ready?
Fuel pump's probably bust, it's leaking to the outside. Let's look at electric fuel pump back to it. Let's see if we can get.
Ain't got no brakes.
No brakes.
To the floor.
That don't surprise me.
Yeah. So that didn't work, but we're gonna hook up the electric fuel pump now and see if we can get some fuel too. It looks like the fuel pump's busted. Good. Alright.
Cut it out and cut it out.
Okay.
Get out!
Where's it coming, bro?
Fuel pump working.
Take the positive off.
Fuel pump's working. We've been to that. What's that?
There's no spark, maybe?
Fuel running out too. The fuel pump was full and it was pushing it out.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. The mechanical one was pushing it out.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Ain't a plug nowhere. And it's got that fuel filter plumb full. Well, take that fuel pump loose, because this fuel pump's working.
Okay.
Take that fuel pump loose and let's hook it back up like it was.
Alright. I'm gonna give her another shot here. Ready? Oh, hook up a battery. Yeah. Search the lights didn't come on. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Sounds like it. So we were getting fuel, didn't seem like we were getting any spark, so Dad pulled the points and condenser out. So
Points look new. More than likely this condenser's dead.
you said those had a tendency to go bad pretty quick.
They'll go dead. They'll die quick. So this is probably
so
probably
what
820
points and
years old.
condenser? What do they do?
That's the ignition system on
Right.
this thing, and it's very primitive. If you get the gap off, it affects the ignition timing. I do not like these things at all, so that's the reason we're going to try to eventually replace it with an HEI style.
And by eventually he means there's one coming Thursday.
Yes. So anyway, we're just going to see if we can get it going. We're going to replace this condenser. If that don't fix it, probably just replace the. Go ahead and get the distributor out, replace it, and proceed from there.
Yeah. Yeah, this thing's gonna need some stuff for sure. We have a fuel leak at the accelerator pump. You can see that onto the intake manifold there. But yeah, so.
But the motor does turn over, which is good.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, it's turned over quite a bit. The Napa store had points and condensers for that 66 truck that we worked on before we swapped it over to HEI as well. So we're hoping maybe hopefully will have those up there for this thing too. So that's probably going to be it for today, but we're going to gather up some more parts, see what gets here, and then go from there. Alright, we're back working on this thing this morning. Napa did have points and condenser, set of points and the condenser for this thing in stock, which neither one of us could believe. But they had it. This is the new one. We're getting it screwed in place now, getting everything where it needs to be. And then Dad said we had to set these to, what'd you say, 17,000?
Yeah, book costs for 17.
Book calls for 17,000 on those points. So we got to get those set. And then we're going to see if this thing will fire up this morning and maybe get it jacked up and see if we can get the drums off and see what's going on. Got the brake master cylinder top off, and it's less than good in there. Looks pretty bad, but yeah. So we're getting these put in place. Going to get these set and see if this thing will fire off this morning. Okay, so I had never done this, and I had never actually even seen it. So I was gonna get Dad to describe what's going on here. So
it's just anybody's fool with points, which a lot of people this day and time don't. I don't like them. You just set the gap between the two point contacts right there. This hole here on the point set under that screw, where the end of the screwdriver is slotted. So you can put just a little bit of tension on the screws and then push it so that gap opens here. And what the book says we're looking for 17 thousandths. It'd been so long since I'd done it, I couldn't remember what the.
So off the cam here, this gear.
This tab right here.
Yeah.
Rests against the cam lobe in the distributor.
And the cam lobe has like flats and then points on it. You know, like kind of. Well, it's got, I guess, octagon shape because it's got 8 points on it. So then that right there, the orange part, goes up on the high spot of that, and then that needs to be set off of that, right?
So as this rotates, it allows this to fall back off the high side.
Right.
It falls off the high side. The points contacts go together, and then when they break, they arc, and that's what sends the signal to the ignition system to fire the coil.
Fire the coil. Okay, I got you.
So anyway.
Yeah, I'd never seen this, so I wanted to make sure that got showed here. And I've heard it talked about a lot, but I've never seen it done or anything like that, so I thought it'd be good to show that. There, got the point set. Everything's back together. Got the cap back on it, so we're going to try and start this thing again. Alright. Out of gear, you ready? Oh, hook the battery up. It might make a little difference. Alright, try again. Fire right up. I don't have a gauge. I don't have an oil pressure gauge. No, the oil light's not on. There's a light, but no gauge. Huh. 18 years at least since this thing last ran. We got the condenser in it, man. That thing just fired right up. That's pretty incredible, actually. Thought there would be more. Thought we'd have to do more to get it going. Ed said the exhaust on this thing was pretty terrible. He's right, it don't sound very good.
Got a water temperature gauge?
Yeah.
Don't have a water temperature?
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Out of here real quick. You got it to idle too.
I turned the idle up on it.
Oh, did you? Any water in it?
I don't think so. No, gotta get it out.
Okay. Pretty good.
It lit right up.
Yeah, it did.
Generally, always a condenser is what causes them things if they sit that long.
Right.
The condenser rots or dies or whatever. That generally fixes them.
Huh.
Got an accelerator pump leak.
Yeah. Yeah, we saw that yesterday.
Well,
It's pretty bad.
when you use the accelerator pump, it actually leaks worse.
Huh, weird. Crazy how that works.
That's the first time that's been cranking, what, 15, 17 years? or something?
I said about 18 years probably, if you go off the registration.
Well, she said, he died in November, so he might
have cranked it.
07.
Oh, okay. Somewhere in the 15 to 18 year range. So, yeah, that's pretty crazy. Alright, so we got you guys heard it start, man. That thing didn't knock, lifters didn't tick, didn't smoke, nothing. So it started right up. So we went ahead and got this thing jacked up and put on jack stands. We're going to see if we can get the drums off and see if we can kind of figure out what's going on with those. We know there's no brake fluid in the master cylinder at all. Brake pedal goes straight to the floor, as to be expected, really. But now Dad's working on getting the drum off here on the front. So we're going to see what we find. Hopefully we can kind of get this thing pieced together enough. I've got to set a disc brakes order for the front of this, a whole kit to put on the front of this, and we're going to rebuild the drums in the back. So hopefully we could get this thing together enough that we can just ease it up to the house and just drive it up there, which would be really cool and would be really nice. Save a hauler fee, which would not be a bad thing. So anyway, but we're going to try and see what we can figure out on this deal. Today's going to get cut a little short with it being the 4th. We've got some work to do this evening, me and Emily do, so we're going to kind of keep plugging on this thing a little bit and see if we can figure out what's going on with the brakes, and then just go from there on that. Nothing.
Shoot, no.
Oh,
yeah, I think it's give a little bit.
Give a little bit. Still tied
The
up at the
springs
top.
on the shoes is just giving it still stuck.
Gotcha. Well, we got one of them off. This side, everything in there looks really good. That's what we were just talking about. I think just the shoes were seized to the drums. Everything else looks pretty good in there, actually. So I'll ease around over here to the other side and start seeing if we can get that one off. Got this side out after a lot more work and in a little less good condition. The shoes were stuck. They stayed. You can see where they were fully welded to it there. They came off all in one piece here. So, but we got this side off. I don't know what the plan is. What is the plan? What are we gonna do?
I don't know.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to.
We're gonna think this through a little bit. But yeah, but got the front off.
Put all this stuff, clean the drums up, put all this stuff back, drive to the house. But I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I'm thinking might have to see if we can get it back rolling and then just get it towed. If it'll roll.
Well, we'll just have to.
Yeah, we'll see what's going on. But yeah. So that was those are those two. We'll, I guess, go back here and see if we can do the same thing to the back ones now. Whew. Now the back end of this thing was a little harder than the front end, but we were able to get them both sides. Well, Dad was. I just kind of helped him and watched. Got both the drums off of the left and the right side. Take you guys around over here. Definitely going to need pretty much everything. So me and him will have a conversation about what we believe needs to be done to get this thing home. We definitely need to get it back to the house because working down here, we're just kind of like working with one hand behind our back a little bit. Don't have all the stuff that we normally have, just because. So anyway, having this thing back up at Dad's shop would definitely be a benefit, but this is a big accomplishment today, getting this thing cranked for the first time in at least 15 years. And then getting the brakes, getting the drums off of this thing so we can kind of get an idea of what we need to do for that. That was huge. And so with this thing up on jack stands, though, you can kind of see just how like gigantic it is. Sometimes when you get to working on it, you don't really think about it, but this thing's a absolute unit. Well, you can see this thing's still sitting here for right now. Honestly, just ran out of time. There's a limited amount of hours with me working a full-time job as well that we can kind of work on this stuff, so we kind of run out of time. But the plan is to get the part of the disc brake kit on the front and then go ahead and just put the wheels and tires on the axles on the back, and we're going to get Haney towing to pull this thing up to Dad's house. And that's going to really simplify everything, get us where we need to be. But for this week, that's all we got. But we got to see this thing run for the first time in at least 15 years, possibly 18 years, which is honestly just incredible how honestly easy it was. Big shout out to Vice Grip. How he does this so consistently, just flies into some random place and pulls something that hasn't been running out and do this with like very limited tools, knowledge on where he's at and all this different stuff. Props, because it's not easy. It's not easy at all. And it's, yeah, it's pretty interesting. So anyway, thank you guys so much. If you guys want to see more of this, make sure you hit subscribe. The more subscribers we get, the easier it is for me to do this more often. And easier for Dad as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button when it pops up in the middle. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook. Got all that going on too. Always putting up videos all the time. So thank you guys so much for joining. We'll see you next time.